You have officially tuned into Everyday Idiots.
I'm Abel.
I'm Christina.
This is a podcast where we'll talk about
The silly side of life, love, and comedy.
yeehaw. And I didn't start the video until just now.
I was like, why did the screen go dark?
That's why. Talk about an everyday idiot. So for those of you watching on video, you just missed the first 5 minutes of a couple of idiots rambling about silly shit.
But this is the Everyday Idiot, so that's how we start it.
And the show must go on.
Okay, Abel, how are you?
Well, I'm still good. Laughing at my dumbness.
I love it. Welcome to Everyday Idiots. I'm Christina. This is Abel.
Well, A-B-E-L, not L-E, clearly.
Or the other third option of spelling. Or fourth. People have taken liberties with your name.
Oh, yes. Well, last time we talked about a-hole.
A-hole
and also, like, I was emailing this executive, and he responds back with A-N-E-L. Like, the only way to read that is anal. Yes. Businessman here called anal. Yes, I'm going to sell a lot of software with that name. Maybe I'm in the wrong business.
Maybe.
Okay, it's not that kind of podcast.
Let's keep it art here, okay?
Okay, so today we're talking about stand-up.
Yeah.
Like what we like, what we don't like, that kind of fun stuff. So, Christina, like when you think about good stand-up, what do you think are the elements of good stand-up?
I might have said it before, but...
Is that too deep of a thought for you on a
we'll see.
Sunday?
See what my brain can spit up. Don't spit your coffee. Storytelling. It's my personal favorite thing. Like, There's nothing that actually draws me into comedy like a story. And I don't think that comedians think that way enough because they think they have to be fast. They think it has to be like someone said the other day, like comedy is what they said is like it's not always good, but it's fast.
Right.
When they were trying to make a fun sexual joke or something at the time. It's not always good, but it's fast.
Thanks for connecting the dots on that one for me. A little slow over here.
But it made me kind of think, I was like, that's what a lot of comedians think, Like, you got to keep it going, you got to keep it fast paced, get a little jab. And it's kind of an old-fashioned way of doing comedy, Like, we don't typically hear a lot of stuff of, like, oh, so walks into a bar and blah, 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 says this. Like, we don't have a lot of joke setups.
Yes.
We do more storytelling. We do more personal stuff. We do more observing life and what's funny in it, I would say, is our current, medium of comedy. But nothing draws me in as a long story piece.
Right.
And so I think it's what I really like about comedy. It's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have the issue of, like, oh, shoot, when I'm only going to get so much time when I eventually do start, like, and we start doing open mic nights and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do we get, like 5 minutes?
I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
Like, this is something that I think we're going to have to do.
I know. So, we are going to start doing open mic nights, you guys.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Wait, what?
Yes. I've signed
One more
you
time.
up.
Wait, what?
The Everyday Idiots are coming to your local open mic nights. Get ready, strap in, and drink a little bit more than normal.
Or a lot more.
We're gonna give ourselves a deadline.
Okay.
We'll talk about more of that towards the end, I guess, the podcast to fill you guys in. But, like, we're talking about this for ourselves because we do improv.
Yes.
As a quick reminder to our audience, we are part of an improv group called
And what are they called?
We're called the Yes Andersons.
Oh, okay. Great. They're awesome, by the way.
We are. I mean, all of us,
Yes.
the whole group.
Yes.
But, so that's the comedy that we've been doing. But we do want to venture into stand-up. And there isn't a lot of crossover. People are surprised to find that out. I was surprised. I kind of assumed it was a natural step. But apparently, especially in Austin, it's not. It's not a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
People do one or the other.
Right.
But we love comedy so much. We're doing improv, a podcast, and then stand-up.
Yes.
And then on our off days, we may make a fool of ourselves on people's yards. So just we hit the streets, looking for an audience.
Oh my God! If we only had a camera running when we were in that yard today,
right? And then so a reality TV show. That would be great.
Oh man! So so when I think about good comedy, I think about some names that everyone's familiar with, like John Mulaney. That guy's just so funny when he's not like too coked out of his head to do a show.
Wait, what?
Wait, you don't know about this?
No.
Oh, he was like in rehab for months.
I didn't know.
Yeah, and then like got a divorce and got someone knocked up and.
I knew about the divorce, not the drugs and knocking up.
Yeah, and there's like a new Mulaney baby.
A Mulaney baby.
Yes, it's a thing. These things happen, and apparently happened to him.
Oh boy!
But I'm sure he can handle it. Like I think he does pretty well.
Yeah.
And there's like Bert Kreischer, who's like a great storyteller and does all kinds of. I mean, you got to be in the mood for Bert Kreischer though. But if you're in the right mood, you're gonna laugh your ass off. Yeah. And then of course there's the late great George Carlin. George Carlin, oh my God, he was just comedic genius. And one of the things that they all have in common is a combination of great storytelling and pace. I really like their pace, and it's not about like delivering jokes, but like the pace of their story just keeps moving, and it seems like sometimes there's the surprise landing that really gets you started, and then even if the joke is predictable, it's coming, it happens so fast that it's just funny anyway. And then at that point, you're just in a silly mood. So every little thing that comes next, you're going to laugh at it.
Yeah.
And to me, like, those are the elements that make for a great comedian.
Yeah. Pacing is so important.
Yes.
Yeah. And who was that one comedian we were talking about? The guy who had the story about being in Russia. What was his name?
Oh, that was Bert Kreischer.
That was Bert Kreischer. Okay.
Yes.
All right, yes.
The Machine.
That was a story, you guys, that has lived rent-free in my brain forever. Forever. Didn't know who this guy was. Okay, didn't know if he was even a big comedian or small or anything. I just watched that clip on YouTube of his story about being in Russia and on the train and everything. Go look it up, okay? Just type in his name.
And The Machine, because there's multiple episodes.
Okay. And I tell you, like, that's the thing, is I forget comedians' names all the time. I forget stories and bits.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I didn't just remember his name, but I could tell you that story.
Right.
And I watched it years and years ago. And it is fresh as hell in the back of my mind at all times. Like, that's what good comedy is to me. Like, shit you never forget.
Yeah.
Like, and just, it was such a good story. And, you can tell. At least I feel like I can tell when comedians are telling a real story or not, or how much of it is real.
Right.
And authentic. And I think that's why I want to tell honest to God stories. Like the ping pong story I did. Right. I hardly changed a word. Truly, like, verbatim what happened.
Right. Well, it's such a great story. It's like like that is a great example of unpredictable things just all falling into place so well.
See, and I think what me and you really like as comedians, what we like about comedy is like life comedy. Like life situations happening, like authentic shit.
Right.
Like, just because we've witnessed, I don't know, we've noticed a lot of the silliness of life.
Yes, because our eyes are open.
Because our eyes are open. Our third comedy eye is open.
The one on your forehead?
No. We're all out here being wise and spiritual, and we're just seeing comedy through our third eye. I don't know what happened. It's a little wonky.
Oh my God. I looked up at the camera and I'm like, oh my God, I don't have a forehead. I have like a 5 or a 6 head. It's so huge.
It's called not having a hairline, Abel. You don't know when to stop measuring.
I do have a hairline, but you just have to draw it in. Do you have one of those makeup pencils?
Yeah, let me get mine back real quick. Keep it on me just for these occasions.
So you mentioned Bert Kreischer. Have I told you that I saw him live?
You did, yes. Tell us, though.
In the Majestic Theater in San Antonio. Okay. Honest to God, I thought I bought some of the best seats in the house. And I thought it was like the front half of the mezzanine. And which like overlooks the stage and is super duper awesome. But no, I bought like back row of the balcony.
Oh.
But it didn't matter because we were there. And also, like, it was dead center stage. And so even though we're all the way up in what felt like the cheap seats,
Yeah.
it still felt like great seats. And, Bert Kreischer came out. He did his thing. He rips off his T-shirt as he always does. And he just, like, gets into his storytelling. And you're like, and he was talking about how he's a Californian gun owner. And he's doing that bit about how he uses the flashlight on the gun as his regular flashlight, which is kind of a dangerous thing to do. But this is Bert Kreischer, and that's what he does.
Yeah.
And I also got tickets for John Mulaney, who's coming to Austin here in March. So I'm super excited about that.
Are there still tickets out for that?
Last time I looked, there were.
Maybe I should get one and go with you.
Maybe you should.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Come along, friend.
Okay. Because I love John Mulaney. I want to go see him in person.
So, as you think about like what you might want to do for stand-up, I'm with you on the storytelling, and I think as I think about it, is I want to like anytime I talk about my parenting, I always tell everybody I'm the worst dad ever. Like, I don't say that to be funny. I say that because it's accurate.
But it is funny.
I mean, it is like painfully accurate, and for some reason, like my kids still like me, and I don't know why half the time.
Aww.
And it's just because like they don't know any better. They're like, this is what dads do. They're terrible and lovable all at the same time.
Some dads are terrible and then just aren't funny and lovable with it, So think about that. They could just have a bad dad, but there's no jokes. Okay, you gave them something.
And like my youngest daughter, I swear, she is so funny. Like, I mean, she's the one that gave us the name of our podcast. Like, she just looked at us and she's like, "Everyday Idiots." Duh.
And we're like, thank you.
Glad there's someone smart in the room and funny. But I've been thinking about, okay, if I can string together enough of these little life moments of my bad parenting, like, it's going to be a lot of laughter.
That's going to be a big set.
Yeah. Oh, I can't do it all. I can't fit it all in there because we're talking
multiple sets here.
Yeah, because like, okay, in the delivery room for the very first child, I was told not to cut the cord because, like, I'm too clumsy.
Like the doctors knew that, or like your wife told you?
My wife. She
Yeah.
was like, "You cannot cut the cord. You're gonna kill somebody with those." And legs wide open, baby coming out, all kinds of stuff going on, people moving around. There could be something on the floor I slip on. Next thing you know, I've impaled the doctor, and so I was not allowed to handle the medical scissors in the room.
That's so funny.
And so I think that has had like just this downstream effect of like, I should have cut the cord.
That's where it all went wrong. Right off the bat, I didn't cut the cord.
Like the first month of my son's life, he gets sick, and we're told, at least back then, I don't know if this is still true because I'm not a good dad, but like in that early days, the only way you're supposed to check their temperature is through their bum. And kiddo was sick, and wife is like, "I'm not doing that. You're gonna do it." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You're the mom." One of those situations.
I think that's true. I have heard that. I mean, I don't know if that's something that's still done, but I know, like, when I was young, that was like a thing.
Yeah.
Because I remember babysitting and my mom being like, "You know what happens if when the baby gets a fever, right?" Or something like that. You know what you have to do? And I was like, "What?"
So imagine this. We're sitting on the couch just like we are here. She's holding the baby child, holding his legs, but kind of pointing it like a cannon. And then I'm like, I've put a little bit of lube on the tip of the thermometer. Like an inch.
I'm sorry, hold on. Actual lube?
Yes.
Like
I don't want to hurt the child.
Like the kind you and your wife had her?
It was a new bottle. It had never been used before. Okay, it was a little bit of spit.
child. I'm not gonna ask questions anymore, guys. I'm just gonna sit here and be happy to wonder.
And I'm like an inch away from like putting it in, and all of a sudden, explosion happens. I am covered in baby feces.
It was self-defense. It was self-defense.
Like, that is how my parenting career started. All because I didn't cut the cord.
I highly doubt that's what really set off this thing. How old were you, by the way, with your first kid?
Oh, let's see. I was probably 26-ish.
Okay.
Something like that.
That's like the normal of like
Is that
first
normal?
baby. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, today people might be like a tad older, but that's still like, you know.
In the range.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's just been like all downhill from there. There was a time when my son had some issues with his boy parts and had to take him to the doctor. And that was like quite the experience. And my wife, she's like, I don't have boy parts. You have boy parts. This is your problem. Like, what are you talking about? But no, it's a dad problem because of the parts.
Yeah.
And so we're at the doctor's office and went through this whole exam, which I'm not even going to get into some of those details. Nurse practitioner walks in, and who is like super hot, by the way. And like,
How old is your son at this point?
oh, he was probably 12 or 13.
Okay.
Like that awkward, transitional tweener age. And she starts like running down a list that might have caused some discomfort for him. And as she's reading down this list, one of them was masturbation. And meanwhile, like, my son is just like rocking back and forth, trying to self-soothe. And she goes, and Dad, looks me dead in the eye with like these like just soul-cutting bright green eyes. And she goes, it could be masturbation. Dad, have you talked to your son about masturbation? And I'm like, oh, once again, I'm a terrible dad. Of course I haven't. And of course I had to lie to this woman. I'm like,
yes,
yeah, I
it's
have.
our regular Sunday conversation.
Oh yeah, like we don't go to church, but we talk about masturbation. Because that's what we do. And and she looks at me and she goes, I'd highly recommend you have that conversation again, just in case. Okay. So we get out of the doctor's office, we get in the car, and right after we close the door, my son looks at me and goes, Dad, yes, son, Mom said that if I let the doctors violate me, you take me to lunch.
I've been violated, where's my food?
And I'm like, okay, son, we can go wherever you want. And he's like 12 or 13, right? So he picks Red Robin. So we start driving towards Red Robin. And he goes, Dad, what was that word that the nurse told you to talk to me about? And I said, masturbation. He goes, oh, what is that? And like, I wasn't prepared for this conversation. Once again.
Was Red Robin prepared?
No. Well, we were still in the car. It was just us.
Oh, okay.
Hadn't gotten there yet. I wasn't ready for this conversation. And like, I hadn't done any homework. And I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, masturbation, like some boys, they rub on themselves because it feels good. And he's like, you mean like rub their arm or rub their leg? No. And keep in mind, he's autistic. He's very literal in the way that he thinks. And so I said, no, son, I'll be more blunt this time. They like to play with their penis. And he's like, oh, what kind of games do they like to play? Is it multiplayer, single player, or co-op? Is there a controller or a joystick? Do you hold it with one hand or with two? Does it plug into a console? Is it online or offline? Does it have good graphics? Is it first person or third person? Do you know if there is cheat codes or a god mode? Is it a shooter game, fantasy, or create your own adventure? And is this a game you like to play, Dad?
What did you say to that?
Like, is there to say, I was laughing my ass off. I was driving down the highway, crying in laughter. I could barely even keep the car going straight. Oh my God, it was just a brilliant comedic moment.
Oh my gosh.
And so, like, my life is riddled with bad parenting moments like this. I couldn't even, like, get through that conversation about masturbation in that car ride.
Yeah.
And eventually I had to have that conversation, which I'll save that story for later, and because that didn't go well either.
Love it.
Let's just say that I was kicked out of the room.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah, it was that bad. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. If you need tips on how to have hard conversations with your children, you've got your guy here.
As an example of what not to say.
So that's the kind of thing that I'm like thinking I need to work on, is some of those terrible dad moments.
Yeah.
And then like I think that'll work.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that story. That's amazing. That's so funny. I love all those multiplayer, like the Switch, like you play with other people, like all. Oh my gosh, I would have lost it too. I would have completely lost it.
But the good graphics one, like I started to think about my childhood and like trying to get like porn on the TV. But all you get is like the blurry lines and stuff, so you really can't see anything. Once again, terrible parent here.
Yeah. Well, great stories. Great. It's gonna be great comedy. I haven't reproduced, so I'll have to wait on those bits. But
but something that we're going to work on is in fact, what I'd like to do is, in order to like get us really going, is set a date.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily a date, but like
Deadline.
a deadline.
Yeah.
What do you think is enough time? A year?
A month.
A month?
Yeah.
A month? Like, is it like a 31-day month or a 28-day month? What kind of month are we talking about here?
It's the rough estimate month of when is the next open mic stuff. Like within the 1 to 2 months.
Is this a leap year kind of month?
Oh,
because we could wait a few years then.
No, Abel. We gotta commit. We're doing this.
Oh, 30 days.
Yeah.
30 days.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. We've got 30 days to do stand-up.
Yeah.
And we're going to do this in the same night or different nights?
I think we should do it in the same night. We're
Okay.
gonna go together.
Okay.
We're gonna do our bits.
Okay.
We're gonna go on stage, and we're gonna bomb. We're gonna do horribly, and that's the plan.
So you're going to bomb.
You're gonna bomb too. I'm here as your support system, Abel. I'm doing this with you to tell you you're gonna bomb.
Are we gonna invite friends?
Do we have to? I still want to keep my friends, It's easier to bomb in front of strangers,
But it can also be like helpful to have a support network there.
Yeah.
Like maybe.
You think I'm not supportive enough for you, Abel?
No, you're extremely supportive. You're amazing. And like, I know even if I'm bombing, you'll be sitting out there laughing your ass off.
Yeah.
And that'll be great.
With you or at you, I'm there laughing. Okay, I can see how I'm not supportive enough. We'll bring some people. Yeah. Maybe we'll bring Sam and yeah.
Yeah, and the crew, and the improv crew.
The whole crew.
So, well, if they're available, because they're like
Yeah,
really busy people.
That's true.
Like there's one who is so funny, but like she's also an actor, and always getting gigs and stuff. And availability is just really difficult. There's a couple that have like really serious careers, which just is kind of mind-boggling because they're such silly people.
I know. It always throws me.
Yeah.
Like, every now and then, like, you'll meet some comedians and they'll be like, oh, I'm a barista, or I do this and that. And you're like, cool. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I'm a Fortune 500 or some shit. And I'm like, what? Why are you here?
Not everybody hosts game shows.
Well, not everyone's living the dream. So, yeah, no, some of them have some good careers.
Okay,
And...
so question for you, Christina. It's open mic night.
Mm-hmm.
They've just called your name. You've got your bit down. You're ready to just rock the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you strut your stuff out on a stage. You stand out there in front of the mic, feeling completely naked in this room. What's going through your head?
I need to poop. I'm gonna have the nervous poos.
The nervous poos.
You ever had the nervous poos?
Sometimes.
I get them. I can always make it to a toilet. Yeah, I get the nervous
But
poos.
that's like a really bad time to exit for a toilet, though.
The truth is, I'll be nervous ahead of time, and I'll have time to go to a bathroom to have my nervous poos. So I'll just had my nervous poos, smelling delightful, on stage, feeling naked.
Everyone would be like, "Where's Christina?" Oh, I don't know. Don't know. Nervous poos, maybe?
Check the bathroom. It smells bad enough. She's in there.
Oh, jeez.
And the question was, what are you thinking?
Yes. I think we just found your bit.
I'll probably just be staring out into the audience going, do the thing, Christina, do the thing. Everyone's looking at you. Grab the microphone, just start saying it, and I'll grab the microphone and I'll go, how you guys doing tonight? Get the coffee in the bathroom? Yeah.
So what you're saying is you'll be a blabbering drunk with the nervous poos. Because that's what it sounded like.
Well, that's just me sober, but it's going to come off drunk. So, yeah, what about you, Abel?
Let's see. Well, nervous poos did not come to mind. I will be nervous, though. But I can handle standing and speaking in front of crowds, so I'm not really nervous about that. But, I'm going to be concerned about whether or not I'll have enough instant recall of my whole bit. And
you're afraid you might draw a blank.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because that, I've had that fear, and what I try to do, I do these storytelling events with, we've talked about before.
Yeah.
And so I always make sure that, I have my whole story, but it doesn't matter if you get through your whole story in the way that you've architected it. But what I always try to do is make sure that I have my very first line locked down and memorized. Because if I can say that, then hopefully muscle memory kicks in, and then it just starts to flow, even if the flow isn't what I had originally designed. So that's what I'll try to do. But I'm going to be second guessing myself the whole time with, I can't remember any of the words that I put together.
Right. And
I'm going to stand up there in that moment of nudity. We probably shouldn't do it nude, or at least I know I shouldn't.
You don't want to be your first stand-up with nude? What? It's a tradition.
It's a tradition.
Yeah, the comedy out here in Austin's a little strange, you guys. Some loose laws.
We're going to dust it naked and high.
Embarrassing yourself very literally out here.
So, yeah, and I think if I can get through my first line, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Even if I screw up somewhere along the way. When I was young, I used to be a very talented pianist.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
Well, I think you told me you played piano, but I don't know that you emphasized more on that or not.
Yeah, I was super duper talented, and I worked my ass off because I loved it so much. But the best part was the best part, kind of like the whole locker room thing. It was those moments getting to know people. I have some really sweet stories I can tell you about my teacher. She was amazing, my favorite teacher in the world, and who's now passed. But also second to that, it was the performances. Something about walking out on stage, commanding that audience is just so much fun and powerful. But when I was young, I used to get nervous as hell.
Yeah.
And I would literally like blank out and feel like I don't know how to play this piece that I'm about to go and play.
Yeah.
Really like complex Chopin stuff. Because Chopin is my favorite composer. Still is, by the way. He's still dead too.
Still dead.
Well, composers don't come back to life. You know the joke, right? Like, they don't die, they decompose. Okay, sorry, bad joke.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Boom, boom. That's such an old joke. Okay, and a dad joke too. Where was I going with that? See, my mind blanked. So, yeah, like my mind would just completely blank out. But if I could get my hands in the right position,
It
and
had muscle memory, yeah.
and then all of a sudden it just like would happen, and then like somewhere in those first few seconds, all of the fears would disappear, and it would just be me and the piano, and it's as if the audience wasn't even there, because at that moment I was then just playing for myself, and it was fun and enjoyable, and I don't know and then when you're done, like the roar of the applause and sometimes getting a standing ovation, that was just so cool. Like I wanted to stand there for several minutes, not a few seconds,
Yeah.
and just like take it all in, and it was like in those moments of like just I don't know, soaking up as much as you could. It was just so exhilarating. So I don't expect that. But like earlier when we were talking about John Mulaney, and like in the Music City Radio Hall,
Yeah.
and performing on that stage with that audience, holy shit, that would be cool.
That'd be so cool.
Like, I mean, right now that's
The energy, like,
Yes.
coming on to that stage.
Yes.
Would be unreal.
it'd be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like,
So, hi.
I would definitely poop my pants.
That's why you do it before. Nervous poos. Preventing pooping yourself on stage since the beginning of time. Yeah, I feel like I actually come from a very similar spot of
Okay.
like I need to rely on that muscle memory. I do love performing and being on stage. I do, but I still get like, I've still always gotten like fairly nervous because you get real nervous and sweaty palmed and stuff beforehand. And then like I would say like whether depending on what you're doing, a few seconds or a few minutes into it, and then I'm just there.
Right.
But that's another slight deterrent because then I'm zoned into it. Which means I'm not like having a part of my brain take a step back and go, okay, make sure you hit this, this, and that orderly, and make sure you phrase it in such manner. I'm just doing the thing.
Right.
And typically it's good, but it's not always the most organized, and I have a hard time. Like even after like my shows and stuff like that, I sometimes have to. I'm so into it that when it's over, I'm like, oh. Okay, I'm back in the real world now. And I have to go like turn to my producer and be like, hey, did I do a good job or a bad job? Because like I was so in it that like I was not aware enough.
Gotcha.
I don't know how to describe that, but
Yeah.
I was just in my own world.
It's like an out of body experience kind
Yeah.
of thing.
It's very much like when you perform, like it's just like this off and on switch. There's like, oh, I'm doing the thing, I'm here, I'm performing,
Yeah.
I'm live, and then it stops and it turns off, and then you're like, oh yeah, the world and reality exists.
So you're saying that when you come off stage, I need to tell you did a good job.
Yeah,
Okay.
no
Okay.
matter what.
No matter-
Even if I poop myself on the stage. I'd be like, oh, cool, thanks. You did a good job.
Oh man, I'll come with an extra roll and hand it to you and
Thank you.
point you in the right direction.
That'll be my prop when I get on stage. Be like, don't worry, you guys. I just have this here because I get the nerves.
Oh my god.
No, I hate prop comedy, but
Have you ever been skydiving?
no,
No?
but I want to.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I bring it up because it kind of has the same feel that I'm talking about. Like, some people get really, really nervous before they jump off the plane, and I really didn't. But looking at other people, like there was a lot of nerves for the first time jumpers, which I was one of. And but like the moment you step off that plane, it is just pure exhilaration and joy and fun. And like every worry in the world disappears. And it feels like you're flying, like some kind of superhero character. I did the tandem jump thing, right? And at some point, and I was watching the altimeter, it was strapped to my chest, but also like spending time looking around at the amazement of, skydiving. And you're supposed to pull it between 4,000 and 6,000 feet above sea level. And so I was intentionally targeting about 4,500. But he's like tapping me on the shoulder going, deploy the chute, deploy the chute. But I didn't want to because it was so exhilarating. And he goes, if you don't pull it, I'm going to pull it. I'm like, okay, fine. And I pull the chute.
Oh my god.
Like this guy did not want to die with my sorry ass.
No. Could not do that job. Being like, pull the chute, ma'am? Ma'am? Can you save us now, ma'am? In the middle of the sky? Ma'am, please pull the chute. Can't do that job.
But look, I mean, he has his own ability to pull the chute too.
Yeah.
So it's not like his life was in my hands.
Do they have the option of like, can you go when you do it your first time, right? And you go with someone strapped on your back, can you just go, I need you to be in charge of pulling the chute?
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily an option, but like you're supposed to do the stuff.
Yeah.
And they're just there to coach you and make sure you don't die.
Okay. Because I truly have thought about going skydiving, and I just don't see myself being able to like read the numbers or gauge it or like have any sense of what's going on around me.
Right.
And I feel like I wouldn't pull the fucking chute. And so I need someone on my back like the whole time, an agreed upon set thing where like they will pull it at the right time, because I cannot be responsible for my life, for my own life and survival.
So can you read an old school clock?
That's the thing, is it would probably take me a few minutes. Like I have to stare at them now. Yeah, see, like another reason. Like, don't let me. No.
Okay, I learned something new today.
Yeah.
Only digital.
Yeah. Well, I can. I have to stare at it.
Okay.
I can read it. It just takes me a minute.
Right.
But what if it's a minute too late? I think it's the time. Oh, it's just a minute.
Yeah, you don't have that kind of time to mess with.
No.
But oh my God, it was so much fun. And I kind of like correlate that experience, not that it's that crazy, but to doing the whole stage thing. Like you have a little bit of fear, a little bit of jitters.
Adrenaline. Yeah,
adrenaline. And then it all happens. And it's all so good and so exciting, so fun. And like that's what it's all about. That's what I'm looking forward to. And I think I just set myself up for a lot of disappointment.
Is this like skydiving? No, sir. It's just making an ass of yourself in front of people.
And everyone like staring at you going, when is the funny part?
When am I supposed to laugh?
Yes, that'll be my set.
Yeah. See, I'm afraid that like I'm not gonna write enough like good singer like punching moments, like the punchline or whatever.
Right.
It's just, it's just gonna be this weird long rambly story.
Mm-hmm.
That's like great for like something like a podcast, but when I try to go up there, I'm afraid I'm just gonna be like, that was my TED Talk, I guess, because you didn't laugh.
Well,
psych, it was a TED Talk.
is the TED Talk going to cover anal expression? That is never going to go away.
That can live here. I don't know if I want to scar the people there like that.
Well, I mean, that's what people pay for when they walk into the room, is to be scarred. Mm. And plus,
True.
it's probably free anyway.
Yeah.
Like, their payment is drinks and coffee.
Yeah.
It's not for the comedians.
I think I'm gonna have fun with the audience though, because like I do love messing with people, and I do get to mess with my audience for like a living right now. And like make jokes and like mess with them on the spot. So like I feel like I'm ready for that.
Okay.
And like low key, like people aren't afraid of women. Like people kind of like laugh it off because I guess women aren't threatening enough. And so typically you can, like, I want to say, we can still get away with some shit. Like, we can say some straight up fucked, inappropriate, uncomfortable things. And, like, no one's gonna do anything except for, like, giggle uncomfortably. Like, you just, like, really make some men uncomfortable.
Oh, for
and, like,
sure.
That's a terrible attitude. Like,
Yeah.
this is how men got in trouble. But, like...
Right. Well, like, one of the other things I was thinking about in part of this, like, terrible dad thinking, like, the other day I was reminded, and I haven't, like, worked on this yet, but I was reminded of I won't tell you who, but one of my daughters having their first period. And like, I've bought, feminine hygiene products. Is that the right thing to say?
Yeah.
Okay. I've bought them before, not a big deal. But I had to buy every one of them because there was just like this fear that, and concern that, I'd get the wrong thing or be uncomfortable or wouldn't work right or whatever. So I literally had to buy every different version, every brand. I dropped a fortune. and it was like the sport version, the overnight version, the pads, the tampons, like the pearl, like all the stuff. Like I had to buy it all.
Did you buy the cup?
No, what's the cup?
The little rubber cup?
Learn something new.
So it's a little rubber cup.
Okay.
Something you might find in a kitchen drawer for measuring is what it looks like.
Okay.
And then you just...
Okay. Yeah. That's like
And this is a podcast, but like you guys get it. You squeeze it, you shove it up there. So,
yeah, like a doorstop.
Yeah. For your vagina. It's to catch the blood. And fill your cup.
You're looking at me like, how uncomfortable can I make Abel right now?
That's the joy. That's the joy of comedy. Is making people feel uncomfortable. Like, I love it so much. I get that from my dad. That's his whole comedy style. Is confusing you and making you uncomfortable. And no one else will get his jokes. And he loves it. Like, he doesn't want you to get the joke. He just wants to see your puzzle. And he's like, yeah, one. And I'm like, that's not how comedy works, but okay.
You're like, Dad, nobody is laughing.
Yeah.
And he goes, but I am.
Yeah.
On the inside.
Exactly.
Because you're confused as fuck right now.
And he's a hipster too. Like he's old. Okay, he's an old dad. But because he was almost 40 by the time I was born, and he is an old school, like, I don't know, like his references aren't even just like stuff of his day. His references aren't even just of his dad's day. His references are of his grandfather's day. So he's got like father clock ass like hips, like, because I don't know, like he really is a
Father
hipster.
clock ass. I like that. Is it digital?
It's before that time. Yeah, he really
it's like a
does
sundial. So it's a...
It's follow the fucking stars. Like, it's just, yeah, just ancient stuff that no one understands. It's pretty much a different language. Like really, really old school shit. And he just loves it because no one else knows what he's talking about. Even my mom is like, the fuck is this? Like, what is this? Like, I swear he's made some of his jokes to my grandmother, like my mom's mom, and she's like, the hell is this? I don't know what that means. That's before my time.
Well, maybe your dad is a time traveler.
I think so.
Like he comes from the way, way, way backs.
Yeah. And he likes collecting old shit, like VHSs, ties from the 80s. I don't know, he's such a like thing, and he works in like TV and film, and he's like such a snob about it too. And like got his English degree before he went to like USC and whatever, and yeah, he's definitely like, well, I collect the great stuff, the old school stuff that people don't get,
Right.
Like he really is. He would never say it, but he's a hipster.
Okay.
But
Anyway.
anyway,
I'm gonna have to meet this man sometime.
yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Well, awesome. Should we wrap things up?
Yeah, I think so.
So 30-day challenge. Nobody knows what the date is that we're actually doing this.
Because we do have to find like an open mic night.
Well, they happen all the time.
Yeah, and get ourselves on the list. Convince them for us to go there. Convince them it's okay to go naked. Yeah, we'll keep you guys updated because we kind of want you to follow along on this journey.
Yes.
And then, we'll go do the thing, and then we'll come back and talk about it
Okay.
right here on an episode.
Of Everyday Idiots.
Yeah.
The best podcast in the world.
Yes.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. It's been so much fun.
Bye.
Very serious now.
Okay. We have to do the outro now, Abel.
You've been listening to the Everyday Idiots podcast.
Where we talk about the silly side of life, love, and comedy.
Please like it, subscribe to it, and tell every friend you know about it.
Thank you for listening, and check back soon for our next episode.
Yeehaw!
Don't do the yeehaw!